Again, as I was saying this morning, the biggest and most dangerous silent killer as far as success is concerned is complacency. Progress that seen through the lens of numbers. But what we don't realize is numbers sometimes can lie. And this is something key that you don't want to miss. My name is Dimitri. I am the giant who's simply on fire about seeing you come to a place where you're going to re-engineer your potential so that you can go on to the next you result within 12 months. All right, let's get right into our presentation. Numbers don't always tell the truth. Numbers can lie. But unfortunately, we live in a society that loves sometimes lies. Because we don't like to confront the truth. Because the truth can be very inconvenient. In the example I gave you this morning about this particular doctor who was looking at his report on a weekly basis, was looking at his calendar on a daily basis and seeing that, yes, my goodness, people keep coming to my clinic. They want to see me. They see me as the big shot family doctor in the community. As a matter of fact, I got this whole thing locked. I have this virtual monopoly. I am the only family doctor. And because I'm still open to receiving new patients, I'm doing good. I'm growing to the point where I'm still hiring more people to work with me. I'm doing good. The numbers speak for themselves because, again, after all, go on to enforce certain things like this nice exotic car in the parking lot. So I'm doing good. But what he's not seeing is the fact that, yes, above and beyond the symptoms that he's treating, the issues dealing with as far as what the families are bringing to him, there's a growing sense of dissatisfaction. Because people are saying, yes, this family doctor lives in a community, so we need someone to look after our children. But for our own needs, and because it's failing to see this need, we are going to be seeking elsewhere. We're going to be seeking elsewhere because we have come to understand that this doctor has simply become a convenient commodity for us. Someone disagree with me. They say that a one-off. As a matter of fact, it was a macro example, and that can possibly go on to speak to the reality out there as far as North America and the world is concerned. I'll give you two more examples and I'm going to stop. First, I'm going to go to literature or entertainment and give you two macro examples. 9 years ago, in 2016, a great movie was actually released. It was called, no pun intended, Fences. Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, and many other great actors were in this production. And the story is quite intriguing. Denzel Washington, as the father, said to himself, I'm making money. As a matter of fact, the numbers speak for themselves. I'm doing good. Because not only was I able to qualify for this mortgage, but I still have an employment, which allows me to provide for my family, to make sure that my son doesn't need anything as far as life is concerned. And on top of that, I go to my boss and say, boss, I believe that there is a need for DEI. There's a need for representation at the top. As a matter of fact, I'm not asking for a favor. I'm coming to tell you that when you look at my numbers, my productivity, you're going to see that I am one of the most amazing garbage collector that you have as far as the company is concerned. So why is it that after all these years, you are still not considering for promotion? The boss look at the numbers and look at that in Washington and he says, yes, you have a point. The numbers indeed speak for themselves, and the numbers are telling us the truth, that indeed you are a very productive garbage collector. So we're going to move you from the back to the front. You're going to become a truck driver as far as garbage collection is concerned. So which was a major promotion as far as his job is concerned. So with the sense of entitlement, he goes back home and he's trying to rule over his family. From the same vantage point, the numbers speak for themselves. I'm doing good, so I don't need to go above and beyond this as far as everything is concerned. I've made it. But one day, his son was actually becoming dissatisfied, comes to his dad and says, Dad, I need to talk to you. We've been building these fences around the home for quite some time. But there's something else we need to discuss. And Dad says, what is it? Says, Dad, how come you never told me? Son, I like you. And the father simply says, what's law out there? Mandates that I come and I say to you, son, I like you. Before you can answer this question, let me ask you a few more questions to help you think better as far as your own brain, your own slow brain is concerned. Are you homeless? No. Do you live in a home? Yes. Do you come do you come home every single day and find food on the table? Yes. So what else are you looking for? Am I not a good provider? Of course, yes. So what else do I need to do above and beyond that to prove that I'm doing what's supposed to do? I'm responsible. I'm taking care of you. And that's the end of it. So whatever else you're talking about, basically, it does not make any sense. The son realized that he was short when it comes to argument. So he decided to retreat back inside the house. But you could see in his eyes that the frustration was simply growing and growing and growing. To a point where he come to see his dad now as a convenient commodity. I'm going to stick around just for as long as I need to stick around. But as soon as I have a chance, I'm going to get out of this house. Guess what? Denzel Washington, the movie, kept digging his own grave. He said to himself, the numbers speak for themselves. I'm doing good. I'm providing for my family, so I have the right to do anything I want, even to fool around. He falls in love with a woman outside of his home and they start having an affair. His friend at work simply challenges him and says, you can't be doing that because that's wrong. At first he denies the whole thing. No, nothing is happening. But ultimately, the truth again came to challenge everyone because that woman became pregnant. And when she became pregnant, he could no longer lie or keep the truth from people. Unfortunately for him, came the day where the woman had to go to the hospital to deliver the baby. And she did not survive that operation. She gave birth to the child, but she passed away. As she passed away, Denzel Washington goes to the hospital, collects the baby, and brings the baby home and simply tells Viola Davis, his wife, says, the woman who gave birth to this child passed away. The child is mine. I would like for us to raise this child like my own. Viola Davis simply looks at him and says, yes, the child will be raised in this house like your child. But what's going to happen is the fences you'll be building around this house are now going to go against you. I would like for you now to be removed from these premises. I'll raise this child like your own, but you are no longer allowed to live with us. And quite a tragedy. That was example number one. Example number two, a few days ago, still macro example. A YouTuber out of Nigeria, she put together a video simply ranting about the state of things as far as marriage is concerned. She was saying the following: back in the days, our mothers would tell us, if your husband is fooling around, that's your fault. You failed to meet the needs of your husband. That's your problem. If your husband is not coming home, that's your problem because you failed to keep your husband happy in the house. Because if he's providing for you, if he's providing for your family, it is your responsibility to ensure that this man remains happy all the time. I'm telling you, millennials have a different way of actually seeing things. And Pantayaba says, no, that's the old way of seeing things. The new way of doing things is completely different. Whatever it can provide for us, we can provide for ourselves. We can go out there and make things happen on our own. We can be entrepreneurs. We can go into the office and make things happen. And therefore, we don't need to put up with any type of foolishness. If it fails to go above and beyond by paying attention to me as well, I'm going to one day get up and go. To simply say that, yes, I can no longer live in a place where I'm just looking at him as a convenient commodity, and whatever else is failing to actually meet as obligation, I'm going to simply overlook. No, if it's not going above and beyond what it's supposed to do, I too have the right to simply start looking around. While I'm not condoning this, I can see where they're coming from. And these were just two macro examples to share with you that, yes, numbers sometimes can be misleading. And numbers sometimes can be fancy you building around yourself, and grave you digging for yourself as far as your own future is concerned. Last example. In 2016, so about 9 years ago, a great company finally decided to close because they realized that they had lost a battle. But it started in 2007. So about 7 years, they were trying to fight with something that was happening as far as the business is concerned. What was it? In 2007, a young company comes and says, we are going to put everything online. Because we realize that there's a growing number of dissatisfied customers out there who want to be entertained on a weekly basis or during the weekend, but they don't want to be penalized for returning the movies late. So they want to be entertained, but not according to the old rules. But what was happening is the executive at these big companies that was actually renting movies on a weekly basis, DVDs and VCR, were saying to themselves, we're looking at the numbers, the data, and the numbers don't lie. The numbers are telling us that we are doing very good. So we can afford to give ourselves all these fat bonuses. Number one. Number two, we can afford to pay our employees bonuses. So we are doing good. The numbers speak for themselves. So these customers, however dissatisfied, they don't have the right to challenge us. The small company came and started challenging that status quo, that sense of complacency. At first, the big company says, we are the big whale in the pond. How possibly can a small fish come and take away the food from this big mouth of ours? But what they did not see coming, slowly but surely, all these dissatisfied customers started turning to this new business model and simply says, yes, oh my goodness, so I don't need to run to the company anymore every Friday night to rent a movie. I can come to you and rent a movie online and keep it for as long as I want. This is revolutionary. One thing leads to another. Before you know it, the small fish is becoming now a big whale as well. To the point where ultimately the big whale, the new big whale, swallows the water around the other whale. And the other whale becomes now the small fish in the pond. Simply because they fail to realize that, yes, numbers can lead you to a place of complacency, self-satisfaction, number one. Number two, and self-satisfaction, complacency, when it is indulged for too long, what it gives birth to, it gives us to something more dangerous, stagnation. And that's exactly what happened to this company that closed its offices in 2014. And it came to be remembered in the books of history as a Blockbuster. And the small fish that's now become a big whale is known today as Netflix. And I'm going to stop right there. Why? Because the Romans used to say something really key. Qui nimium probat, nihil probat, meaning in English, he who proves too much proves nothing at all. I'm going to stop right here and just remind you that, yes, as far as your business is concerned, don't just focus on numbers, because number can lie to you. But focus on making sure that you're going above and beyond in everything that you're doing. Why? Because at the end of the day, we don't rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to something really key. the level of our standards. If our standards are actually low, what's going to happen is slowly but surely going to be digging a grave, and that grave ultimately will end up swallowing us. And if you want to avoid that, you have to find a way to become now part of the people that constantly looking around to see how they can go above and beyond in whatever they're doing when it comes to personal relationship or when it comes to business, because they're trying to find ways to innovate, and it's only those who are trying to find ways to innovate that are going to be remembered in the books of history as people that came, saw, and conquered the world. All right, if you're looking to find ways to build success, not just the illusion of it, my friend, look no further. Three key things you have to do for yourself: like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so next time we put together a video, you can be amongst the first one to see the video. All right, much love everyone. I'm out. Take good care.